Hello, I'm Erin O'Toole and welcome back to the Blue Skies Political Vidcast. Today we're talking trade, a subject that's very important to Canada and something very important to me. I served as the Parliamentary Secretary for Trade in the last government, and I worked on trade issues as a lawyer in the private sector.
We will renegotiate. Now, if I'm unable to make a fair deal, if I'm unable to make a fair deal for the United States, meaning a fair deal for our workers and our companies, I will terminate NAFTA. But we have to make a deal that's fair for the United States. They understand that.
In the decade after the North American Free Trade Agreement, trilateral trade between Canada, the US, and Mexico tripled. There was 3 million new jobs created in Canada as a result of trade. And just Canada and the US alone, $1.7 billion flows across our borders in two-way trade every single day. And free trade is a signature policy for conservative governments. From the US Free Trade Agreement to the European Trade Agreement, conservative governments have given Canadian exporters 98% of their market access. We own trade. So now let's talk about 3 aspects of the coming NAFTA negotiations. First, good fences make good neighbors. You're going to see why it's important for us to have dispute resolution. Second, how could this deal affect the bacon and eggs you enjoy in the morning? And third, an idea that I think the Liberal government should bring to the NAFTA renegotiations to truly liberalize trade across North America. First, good fences make good neighbors. The US relationship in particular for Canada is critical. They're our neighbor, our largest trading partner, and our strongest ally. But we need rules and ways we can adjudicate disputes. We need to maintain Chapter 19 and dispute resolution provisions within NAFTA. Why am I worried about trade dispute resolution with this Liberal government? Because it's the first thing they caved on when the new government changed the European Trade Agreement. They changed investor-state dispute resolution provisions. Minister Freeland at the time said changing these provisions would be more progressive, in her words. That doesn't safeguard our interests and the interests of our exporters. We need Chapter 19 and dispute resolution to make sure from softwood to country of origin for beef, Canadians have the ability to fight back unfair rules. Second, how does the NAFTA renegotiation impact your morning breakfast? Well, agriculture and agricultural subsidies will be critical to this renegotiation. We often forget that there is no level playing field in trade. The Americans spend more on agricultural subsidies than Canada spends on national defense. Between harvest priced option and price guarantees, crop insurance, conservation, marketing, the Americans spend almost $30 billion a year on subsidies. So how can our businesses, particularly time-sensitive commodities like eggs and milk, how can they compete when there's no level playing field? For some, it's easy to point at Canada's supply-managed sectors in dairy and in poultry production. But for time-sensitive commodities, particularly milk and eggs, we need to make sure that our producers can produce quality products in Canada within a regime that's not having them go out of business because of subsidization in the US. Agricultural subsidies and trade will be critical to this renegotiation. And third, the Liberals need to seize the agenda on these trade negotiations. Let's not just be responsive, let's take initiative. We need to put transportation on the agenda, particularly cabotage, so that trucking, shipping, and air can be more efficient across North America. Transportation regulations mean that a Canadian trucker that delivers to California has to return to Canada empty. That raises costs, it's less efficient, and it's bad for the environment. 2 large carriers in North America have estimated that empty trucks account for 16 billion tons of GHG emissions each year because of outdated regulation. Inefficient transportation rules are bad for the environment, raise costs for consumers, and make our systems less efficient. We need more short sea shipping, we need more liberalized trucking rules, and we need true open skies for air carriage. We need to put cabotage on the table for NAFTA renegotiations. Millions of jobs in Canada rely on trade, so NAFTA renegotiation will be the most important issue facing Canada. Blue Skies is meant to be a conversation. I'm putting out issues impacting Canada today, but I want to hear from you. Leave a comment below, let me know what you think, and make sure you like and subscribe to this vidcast. This is about a conversation to make sure that Canada remains the best country in the world. Thank you for listening. I'm Erin O'Toole, MP for Durham.